So now, the third stanza. The third stanza is, may she be granted beauty, and yet not beauty to make a stranger's eye distraught, or hers before a looking glass, for such, being made beautiful overmuch, consider beauty a sufficient end, lose natural kindness, and may be the heart revealing intimacy that chooses right and never find a friend. Now, there's a very important point the poet makes, that is, generally, what do parents ask? They ask for their daughter exclusive beauty. But this father, he says that my daughter should be granted only a normal sort of beauty, not very extraordinary beauty. And he gives reasons for it. He gives two reasons. He says that beauty sometimes become a nuisance for girls. So he prays for normal and balanced beauty. He says that my daughter should be granted beauty by God, but I don't want such beauty which will have two effects, two negative effects. And what are the two negative effects? One is that sometimes very beautiful girls, they think that beauty is end in itself. End in itself means beauty is self-sufficient and they do not need qualities. And that is a very bad mistake. Okay, so he says that, and sometimes, and the second thing is that sometimes beauty distracts the eyes of any stranger. Any stranger may have bad eyes on beautiful girls. So these two adverse effects he does not want that his daughter should have. First, that his daughter should not be involved just in looking at the mirror and just looking at her beauty and not developing any good qualities. And secondly, he does not want that she should become so very extraordinarily beautiful that strangers will look at her and they will cause any harm to her. So he says that she should be granted beauty, but not so much that the beauty will disturb and distract others. Because generally women who are beautiful, they start thinking that beauty is sufficient in itself, and such women, they forget natural kindness and they are unable to respond to the advances even of sincere people. So thus they ultimately fail to find a suitable person. And here he is referring to Maud Gonne. Maud Gonne of Ireland, his ex-beloved, whom he wanted to he wanted to marry, but she refused to marry him. And due to Maud Gonne only, the poet madly involved himself in the Irish movement. But what did he get? Nothing out of it. So he says, and she married a very worthless person. She married a very worthless person because she was so very beautiful, but she thought that beauty is everything. Qualities do not matter. So we will read the fourth stanza now. Helen, being chosen, found life flat and dull, and later had much trouble from a fool. While the great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for man, it is certain that fine women eat a crazy salad with their meat, whereby the horn of plenty is undone. Now, in this stanza, he is giving reference to two examples Actually, he is targeting at Maud Gonne. What he wants to say that I don't want that my daughter should become as beautiful as Maud Gonne and as stupid as Maud Gonne. So he does not refer to her directly, but indirectly he gives two examples, one of Helen and another of Venus. Helen of Troy, you must have heard of her. She was a very beautiful lady. She was the daughter of Zeus and very extraordinarily beautiful woman. She ran away with the prince Paris of Troy, and the outcome of which was the destruction of Troy. She was the reason behind the destruction of Troy, or rather, we can say that her beauty was so destructive that the city of Troy was completely destroyed. So, that is why he prays in the last stanza that I don't want such a beauty to be given to my daughter, which will be destructive to any person. And secondly he gives example of Venus, Aphrodite, the goddess Venus, and she is also very very beautiful. She rose out of the spray, and she married Hephaestus, and her husband was a lame ironsmith of gods, and she married very unwisely, and she also betrayed him later on. So